Alrighty guys, we are in Sweden, a place that I've always wanted to go to for a very long time. Very different place from the places I normally go to, and so I'm just going to kind of share my first impressions being here. Just first things I noticed off the bat is everything. I just got here last night. I just got here from Poland. I'm just visiting for a few days. I don't think I'm going to be here for a very long time, but I wanted to kind of get a taste of something of Scandinavia, because it seems like kind of the opposite of a lot of places that I've spent a lot of time in Latin America. And my first impressions right off the bat is it just seems like a very I don't know, like it's nice. I like it. I like how everything is like super clean and organized. You can just kind of tell that the people here are kind of reserved. I haven't talked to so many people yet. Maybe I just got here, like I said, a few hours ago. But everything from just like the way the kind of like the buildings are, you don't have this kind of like in Krakow, you had a lot of, I think, influence from the Habsburgs, and you have a lot of this kind of like this kind of regal architecture, I think, in a lot of ways. But the architecture in Sweden, it just seems kind of really, I guess, kind of representative of the Swedes themselves. It's just kind of like, it's not too much, it's not too like flamboyant. It's just kind of, everything about it just seems kind of like reserved and really practical. It's not too cold. The weather's actually quite nice. There's a lot of sun. I'm sure that could change a little bit, but it does, I mean, it honestly just reminds me a lot of like kind of where I'm from a little bit in the southern United States. I know that sounds really weird, but just like without a lot of pretension, I guess, so you could say. A lot of the areas, like I said, everything is just very very practical. The women, I think, like most people, I think, are just kind of like normal, average, everyday looking. But then every now and then you'll see a girl who's just like, wow, like that girl in Los Angeles, she would have like 2 million followers or something like that, is what you just kind of see like randomly walking around here in Sweden. So haven't gotten a taste of too much yet. Really excited to be here. I think it's really cool, and I want to maybe see like some historical stuff, maybe even some like old, it'd be cool to see some like old Norse like museums or ruins or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. And overall, just talk and get to know some of the people, because at the end of the day, you can go to a new place and you could walk around, you could look at the buildings, but unless you actually go out there and go up to people, approach people, talk to people, then you're not really going to know what a place is really like. You're just going to kind of have these floating stereotypes of things that you've sort of been inundated with on the internet that are going to kind of influence your perception. I saw that a lot with a lot of places that I've been that weren't necessarily what a lot of people say they are, because most people just go to a place and they just sort of rock up, walk around, and don't really sort of inundate themselves. Everyone speaks English here perfectly, like almost better than I speak English. It's kind of funny. They're very like they use the phrases and the stuff like in a very articulate way, where in some places, even Poland, they're kind of struggling with the language a little bit. So we're gonna kind of get a bit of a taste for here, and see what it's like. All right, here we are in an old Swedish graveyard, Inga Stringsen Sodersberg, very Swedish name. So really, impressions of Sweden so far, really like it. I went on a date the other night with a Swedish girl. I was sitting in a cafe. She was really pretty. She was just kind of sitting there, and I walked up, introduced myself, said I thought you were attractive, blah blah blah. She's really taken aback, really taken aback by getting approached. She told me later on, she was like, I was kind of shocked that you went up to me, because I went up to her, chatted for a minute, and then we ended up invited her to, you know, go get some drinks, and we ended up meeting up later. And she said, she was like, yeah, I was kind of shocked that you came up to me. She's like, you know, Swedish guys don't normally do that, or it's just very not common. As the stereotype is that people are very reserved, they kind of stay in their own little bubble a little bit, maybe more so in the old in the towns where everyone kind of knows each other. Obviously you're a little bit more kind of comfortable, you bump into people, you talk to people. But she was saying in the cities really doesn't happen so much. And so that's why it's good to go to these places, to really kind of you know, break a lot of the stereotypes, because guys might get the impression like, oh, you can't go there because if you approach someone they're gonna be scared, or they're gonna get a different reaction. But in reality, they really appreciate it. And a lot of stereotypes that I think I've had of Sweden, some of them have been confirmed, but a lot of them, like for instance, I mean, obviously this is a graveyard, older generations and stuff like that, but I am a bit surprised at the level of influence of Christianity here in Sweden. I think that I have met a few people that actually have still had that, or at least they say it's still like a cultural influence. Like they use the I was trying to go check out the old cathedral here, and they were using it for a wedding, so it's still kind of like to some degree in the culture, but obviously not, you know, fully or anything like that, not to the extent of Poland, I'd imagine. But I would say my feeling in this place is it just feels nice, you know, even though it's a little bit cold, everything just feels cozy and reserved. It's obviously expensive, but and the women are actually like absolutely stunning, beautiful. Probably, maybe aside from like going to Russia, I don't think that there's, you know, a place where you could find more beautiful people. And so when I ended up going on the date with her, and this is something that I think I would do meeting anyone in Sweden, is just like politics are off the table. I kind of set that frame at the beginning when I went to go meet her. I was just like, we are politics is forbidden to talk about during this during this date, during this conversation. And I think that's a wise move to make, particularly if you're an American, because I will say people do love to debate politics, and especially with Trump being president, you have people that want to bring that up and talk about, oh, Trump, like, I just can't imagine, he's just so stupid, how could. And I love the Swedes, I love Europeans, but I will say there's a lot of Europeans that I think can be a bit pretentious I guess, with their attitude towards the United States. There's this kind of like cult or religion of open-mindedness, particularly in Sweden is probably one of the epicenters of it, and they're so open-minded that they become completely close-minded and completely almost derogatory towards anyone who could have a different perspective. You know, it's like the intolerance of tolerance, I guess, to some degree. So best generally just to avoid it. And if you avoid politics and you avoid those kind of things, the people here are incredible. Like they're such genuine people. Their compassion maybe is a little bit too much, you know. Probably they have almost like a suicidal level of compassion, I guess you could say. But overall, it's just like the people, especially like the girls that I've approached, you go up to them and they're just like super, like, I don't know, they're just like, they're smart, they're livid, I don't know what the right word is, you know. They're just very present and very there, and are really open to sort of you know, meeting people and stuff like that. So a lot of the stereotypes are true, but at the same time, you should never let the stereotypes of a place inhibit, you know, you seeing it if you want to see it. It's like, oh, I can't do that here, I can't do that there because of this thing or that limitation. And really, I'm just here off of a bit of a whim. You know, sometimes I like to really sit down and plan traveling and everything like that, but I was just getting this feeling of like, I gotta go to Sweden, gotta go to, and it didn't make sense, you know, because it's cold, obviously. Well, logically, the best time to go would be when it's warm. The best time to go would be when it's in the summer or something like that. But something was just telling me, like, you gotta go to, you know, you gotta go to Sweden now. So excited to be here, really love it. To be here long term, I think that's a bit more tricky, that's a bit more complicated, with visas and everything like that. But overall, I would say, like, and then obviously they have like really high taxes and everything like that. But yeah, so we're gonna head back to Poland, I think, in a little bit. Very enjoyed it so far.
Ja, vi hade våra